The Healing Hour, October 23rd, 2018. So we should be live with the Healing Hour. This is Tyson Bannigan, the Energy Detective, and I'm with you for the next hour. If you want to head over to the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy, you'll see the show live there. And if you also want to leave your comments during the show, I'll be able to pick them up there as well. And answer any questions you may have during the show. If you want to phone in during the show, it's 1-866-369-7464. And if you'd like to join me on Zoom today and be live with me, the link is above the show in Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy on Facebook. And the Zoom link is 736-288-807. 736-288-807. And you can join me there, okay? So this is Tyson Benning, and this is the Healing Hour. And you can join me live through Facebook, through the Zoom link, or you can phone in toll-free 1-866-369-7464. So, just got back from Gateway 2 Ranch, Liz Mitten Ryan's amazing ranch where she has the healing horses, a herd that's been together for many, many years. They're out on the pasture all night long, and then they come in to be fed in the morning, and then they work with humans and do healing until around 1, and then they're back out onto the pasture and on the property and spend the night, and then they're back in the morning. So it's great to be back up on the ranch and look at how we can work together in the coming summer. And we'll be putting together a program which includes the opportunity for you, if you feel called, to be part of a film that we'll be doing. We'll also include Mayan sacred ceremony on the land, connecting you to the land, the horses, to all that is. And this will be happening during the summer solstice, and it'll be running from Saturday to Saturday. So if you feel that this is something that you would like to participate in, you can head over to Liz Mitten Ryan and get hold of her and say, I want to be included in this program for the upcoming summer solstice, and join us. This is going to be an extraordinary week with horses, the healing of the land, ceremony on the land, learning how to work with the landscape angel, how to work with the divas and the angelic kingdom, and with the horses, all to come together in perfect oneness. So if this is something you're excited about, then we encourage you to join us. So I'm just going to head back over to Zoom and see if anybody showed up there. And so far, there's only me and myself and I. And so we're waiting for you to show up and join us on this call. So I'm going to head over now to the Dowsing and Energy Healing closed Facebook group and do get to work there answering some questions around there. So right off the top, we got a communication from Valerie Angela Lawrence. And she is saying that her hubby is in the hospital here. And she says, thank you for all the support. I will not be able to be there. Hubby, after amputation, I think of the leg below the knee, recently developed challenges, low urinary output, low BP. He's diabetic. He's a diabetic and as well. So it was, so they gave him sugar something, ASS. I want you, of course, crash that seems stable. Okay, so he seems to be stable now. So a lot of prayers, please, as you and asks for you are going to do. They're going to do some more tests. Okay, well, we'll include that in the healing. And I see that we have our good friend showing up. So I'm just going to go back over to Zoom. Oops, where are you on Zoom? Here we are, and we are going to bring Arunas here. So we're going to add Arunas to the show as well. Hi, welcome to the show. You are got your speaker off. All right, and I
Hello.
think we also, hi, Arunas, how are
Good to
you?
see you.
Good to see you. I'm sorry we haven't been in touch. Been sick for the last week with the flu, which never happens to yours truly, but I got to experience the flu and be human like the rest of society, I guess. So I think we have Trudy here too. So where's Trudy? Let's see if we can do Trudy somewhere out there. I saw her. I don't see her yet, so let's see. So, how's life in your world, Arunas?
Great.
Great.
Working, clearing. I specializing in dissolving stones in kidneys,
Ah,
and I do that remotely, by the way. And I just got one more confirmation from Nigeria.
good.
Well, yeah, individual had 3 stones, 2 left. I just finished, completely finished. We're waiting for another confirmation with the ultrasound, so it's absolutely clear.
That's really great. That's great work to do.
The way I do, I do coding, like vibrational. I like codes. I create vibrational codes, and that's how it works for me.
So is that like radionics?
No, I
No.
do everything with this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard radionics doing it where you just do the code by figuring out which numbers are.
Basically, everything is based on frequencies, to be honest.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's and you know, and it's just I use I convert everything in the frequencies, and then I deal from that point on. So, and you can heal a lot of stuff with that, but also not everything is possible because of the complexity of our structure. So, and I want to clarify one thing. Maybe some people misunderstood, but especially to you, Tyson, because I highly respect what you do and all your intentions. You want to help and a planet, and you want to help, you know, and oceans and everything else, and it's absolute necessity. And if I said that, you know, maybe some way sarcastically, apologize for that, but I a little bit skeptical about those things in a regard that we have to take care first about ourselves. And many people underestimate when they, let's say, follow masters like you or like, let's say they start dowsing for a week or 2 or 10, and they suddenly helping the planet Earth. They still didn't clear themselves from the entities. They didn't balance the energy field, and they didn't work on themselves, but they already start working on way bigger things.
Hello.
You know, they can handle.
Hi, welcome to the Healing Hour. I'm just finishing. Arunas was just talking about the healing work and why it's important to clear yourself before you start clearing the planet. So welcome to the Healing Hour. And who are we talking to?
Your friendly caller, Valerie.
Oh, Valerie, we were just talking about you on the show. So how's hubby doing today?
Oh, I don't know. He's going for an angiogram.
Right. And so are you off to the hospital today, or
Yeah, but I just wanted to, I guess, do something before I leave, or I don't know.
Right.
Because it's sudden, you know. The surgery was successful, and he was doing okay. And then 2 days later now, it's like his blood pressure is low, his urine output is not good. And they think it may be something to do with his heart, so he's getting an angiogram.
Right. Well, let's just see what's going on in his energy field. Yeah, so let's just clear his energy field. So I'm just going to do that right now. So I, Tyson Bannigan, my holy name, undertake this clearing What's his name again?
Roland Edgar Lacasse.
Roland Edgar
Roland Edgar Lacasse.
Lacasse.
Usually called Lou.
Lou. And we're going to clear his bioenergy field of all intrusions into his field from any and all sources, including toxic emotions, core fractures, or unresolved emotions. And we're going to clear them throughout all time, space, and dimensions, and through the multidimensional levels of reality. And we're going to ask for the assistance of Divine Mother, Creator God, and all that is, and his spirit guides and my spirit guides to work with his and bring him to some sort of stabilization. And we ask that this be so in our holy name, so be it. It is done. Thank you. And I'm just going to let the pendulum do its work here for a bit. Still rotating. It's not rotating very fast, but it is rotating and clearing. So it's still working. Let it come to rest here, and then we're going to check in. So that should help him and hopefully improve things. And let me just see. So I'd be 1, 2. Yeah, so that would, this will, without him doing anything else, this would help him for about 3 days. So if you can listen to this part of the show and copy down that clearing and do that for him periodically, that will really help him.
I had been doing some clearing.
Yeah.
I actually cleared the hospital.
Yeah, good.
But, I hadn't been doing it a couple of days, but when I was there, I would clear it, and when I wasn't there, I would clear it, but I hadn't done it for, a day or two.
Yeah, very good. You've done a great job on the hospital. It's like about 75% clear, which is pretty amazing for a hospital. So you've done some great work there.
I did it several times.
Good. Well, let's install. I'm just going to ask Divine Creator to install a Christ grid in the hospital where everybody that comes through the door is going to receive the healing that they need and be able to come back to wellness and homeostasis as soon as possible. And those that are ready to transition can do it with ease and grace. And we install this grid in the hospital. And where's the hospital located?
Royal Columbian Hospital.
Is that in Vancouver?
New West.
Okay, Royal West. And we install this Christ grid there, and we make it permanent.
Yeah, because I actually have the address written down on, healing the building.
Yeah, good.
I wrote it down.
Yeah, this will help. So I just cleared, and now we're going to install that Christ grid now. So that
and I listen to this when I have time.
Right. Okay, just finishing off installing that now. Okay, so that should help too for everybody in there as well, the nurses and everybody as well.
What I did was, before he had surgery, I did it for, the people taking care of him and everything. Good. So everybody will benefit from that, and I know the hospital you're talking about. So yeah. Well, I learned from you, the best.
Well, thank you. All right, so great. So thanks for phoning in and.
Well, thanks for your help. It's really appreciated.
Well, thank you for sticking to it and getting the job done. Yeah. All righty.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
So that was Valerie and getting her husband in the hospital he's in New Westminster, west coast of North America in Canada, just outside of Vancouver, getting that Christ grid installed in the hospital so that everybody will benefit from the healing energies of the hospital. And those that are really to transition can do it with ease and grace. Yeah, so back over to you, Arunas. I didn't feel anything sarcastic in what you were saying. I do agree with you totally that, part of being an Earth steward is a beginning and ending with yourself, heal yourself, heal the planet. And you really, while I appreciate people helping clear the planet, the real work is done from the inside out. And I see we have some more people joining us, so I'm just going to bring them on board, and you can keep talking while I do that.
Sure. It is very important, actually, to clean our planet from the negative energies. And I want to explain something about law of attraction and how it relates to the radiation or vibrations or energies. Hello.
Hi, Trudy. Yeah, go ahead, Arunas.
So when I dowse based on radiations, and I can assure you 100% the listeners that entities have a multiple radiations, not single radiation. Now, think that our thoughts and our feelings, and negative thoughts and negative feelings, also have a multiple radiations. Let's say if you take a thought of hate with so much here in nowadays, let's say you hear teenagers talk, I hate this, I hate that, I hate this, I hate that, I hate this. This creates, this feeling, this thought has a negative radiation, and this feeling has negative radiation. Besides, like I mentioned before, it sits in our brain on a level of neuron connections. So what happens? When we have a negative radiation, imagine this is our thought, and this is entity, right? And suddenly, one radiation matches the radiation of entity. Guess what happens? Entity knows who you are, and that's how entity finds you. So entities, basically, the most entities are a negative network of consciousness. They represent negativeness. They are parasites of they feed off on our energy. They feed off our chakras, on our layers of aura layers and so on. So that's how they find. They find because vibrations, it's a physics, right? When you have frequencies, similar frequencies, they bounce instantly. So the same way entities find you guys. So now we have to pay attention, especially for new dowsers or who wants to go into the field of healing somebody. Well, please start to work on yourself and clear yourself, your mind from negative thoughts. Clear yourself, your feelings from a negative feelings, all the bad feelings. There is a lot of information in that regard, or you can join Tyson School and follow that. I have my way to deal with this. But this is very important. Without clearing yourself from negative thoughts and negative feelings, you guys have very limited, you're limiting yourself from the further evolution, from the further ascension, from the further move into the higher vibrational level. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just did a recent post on the dowsing and energy healing, and it didn't pick up a lot of traction, but it has to do with curses. And it's really from a biblical or Christian point of view. It was actually from one of my clients who's Jewish. And it has to do with the court of heaven, or the court of atonement is another way that we describe it. But he uses the court of heaven. And curses are the misuse of words, like Arunas says, that every vibration, a negative frequency that you are stating puts out a vibrational frequency. And even the past life curses that you've done follow you as well. So there's karmic consequences as well. And, I like to think that I'm pretty clear of curses. And then I was in the bathroom doing something, and I slipped and found myself saying, Jesus Christ. And I thought, whoa, there you are. There's a really, really terrible curse that I haven't got myself conditioned to remember not to do that, right? Using Christ's name in vain. So we are all subject to that sort of by remote control, or when we're not thinking, we're coming from our conditioning. So releasing ourselves from curses. So I really encourage anybody listening to this show, head over and do that removal of curses. It's very, very, very powerful. And then be conscious about the curses that you use in your life, because when you curse something, you're really cursing yourself and you're limiting your ability to ingest light. Your ability to become a light being is inhibited by the curses and the negative frequencies that you allow through the language that you use. Because it says in the beginning was the word, and the power is in the word. So if you don't use positive words, then there's consequences for it. So let's say hello to Trudy. Trudy, you've got your microphone off, so put your mic on and say hello. And it looks like you've shown up, there's two of you on the show today, so I don't know whether you came in by your cell phone and you came in by your computer, but you're beside yourself today. I see one has got the camera off and the other has your sound off. Oh, while you're waiting to figure out your sound there, we will say hello to Atlanta, Georgia. Hello, this is the Healing Hour.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. This is Sunshine Gabby.
Hi, Sunshine Gabby, and how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm feeling much better. Just got to play with the horses, just got back from Gateway 2 Ranch, got to sit with the horses.
Oh, wow.
And
Amazing.
be healed this morning. I got to meet all my favorite horses, and we're going to be doing a program for the summer solstice here, and we're going to be doing healing the land, healing the people, and working with the horses and shaman, like Mayan shaman ceremony. So we're looking for a special group of people who wants to come to the land, and it's all going to be filmed. So we're getting that all together. So pretty excited about that. So that's going to be a great event at the Gateway 2 Ranch. So if you want to know more about that, just plug in Gateway 2 Ranch or Liz Mitten Ryan, and you'll get to learn about it. So what's up in your life?
I am just calling in, glad to connect with you guys.
Okay.
And I wanted to get some clearing as well.
All right. What do you want to work on?
So I want to clear whatever is hindering or holding up my finances to flow easily and naturally.
All right. So let's look at what's happening with your finances, okay?
Yes.
All right. So on a scale of 0 to 100, with you being 100% in harmony with your finances, which is really another way of doing this is saying this, as strange as it may sound, is you're 50%, which is really you're 50% in not loving yourself unconditionally. How does that sound? Did you?
Interesting.
Yeah, they're one and the same thing.
Okay.
So what that means is if you love yourself unconditionally, you're really connected to Source. When you're connected to Source and you're in the divine flow, then everything is granted unto you with little or no effort whatsoever. And so it's a misnomer in our culture that you have to work hard, strive hard, go to work, and do all these things in order to succeed. It's actually the reverse of that. If you still your mind, be quiet, go into meditation, connect to Source, become one with the divine flow, then everything's granted to you. Now, that's your birthright by the mere fact of planning, of being able to birth on the planet Earth, as you're granted that connection and that unlimited resources of being able to manifest anything and everything you want. Now, am I there 24/7? No. Do I have a long way to go myself? Yes. But it sure became clear this with the horses this time around that, that's all that's required is to get out of your own way, love yourself unconditionally, stop trying to make the money flow or make it all happen. Just be in stillness, open your heart, connect to Source, and guess what? You'll have the right step and you'll be in the right place to meet the right people for magic to happen in your life. So how does that sound?
Right.
A lot more ease and grace than the other way around, right?
Yes.
All right, so let's do a clearing around that anyway. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to take my pendulum and I'm going to say, I, Tyson Banning, on behalf of everybody on this call, remove any barriers, known or unknown, that's disallowing people to love themselves unconditionally. Remove all toxic core fractures, unresolved emotional traumas, or unresolved emotional issues from their energy field. Of course, it's great if they can work on this themselves. And we undertake this clearing through the multidimensional levels of reality and throughout all time, space, and dimensions. And we ask for the assistance of Divine Creator and Divine Mother to help in this, and also their spirit guides, spirit doctors, to assist in this clearing as well. And I declare it so in my holy name, so be it. It is done. So anybody listening to this call will have the clearing words and be able to do this for themselves. And the more that do this, the stronger the energy field and the more it will come to pass quicker for the whole planet, by the way. So instead of coming to rest, okay, now I'm going to do an installation. Okay, so I'm going to do clockwise this time. So in my holy name, Tyson Bannigan, I install the prosperity and abundance that is our eternal birthright from incarnating on planet Earth, and that everybody listening to this call, working with the source consciousness and as one with all that is, will always be in the right place at the right time for their next best step, that they'll be guided, and that the abundance will flow in every way imaginable with little or no effort, with ease and grace. And I declare it so in my holy name, so be it, it is done. So those are the two things. It's clear everything that's in the way of you loving yourself and knowing that this is a truth. And then once you clear that and know that it's cleared, then install that you're always in the right place at the right time to receive, and that you'll receive the guidance you need, and then you'll be in the divine flow and it will just become effortless. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so great. So this will be, partway into the show if you want to copy this down and use it. 21 days of this and it'll become second nature. Your subconscious will be running the program for you. All right, so thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for phoning in.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
How do I get access to this recording?
Oh, it will be on any one of my pages, and it will also be over on my YouTube channel, the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy, under the Healing Hour. All of the calls are there, and it will also it will be also on the Facebook page, unedited, and it will also then will be uploaded as an edited version as well. Okay.
Okay, great.
Alrighty. Thanks for phoning in.
All right.
Bye for now.
Okay.
All right. So over to Trudy. Hi, Trudy. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. You had your mic off. There's
Yeah,
only one now, so you had two ways that you came in. So maybe that
Yeah.
was.
Have I got rid of the other one now?
Yeah, you have. You
Okay.
cleared yourself up. There's not two of
Nice.
you.
Nice. I wish there was two of me sometimes.
Yeah, really. So how are things in Australia?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Yeah, we've had some rain and yeah, I think things are going really well here at the moment. I've just come home from a 4-day mediumship course, which was really challenging actually, just working with the pineal gland and clearing the pineal gland and learning to see and read for people, with no other sort of tools or anything. So we weren't card reading or pendulum or anything. We were just reading with our mind, which was, I found, a lot of pressure on my third eye.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I've experienced headaches and things for the last 4 days, different parts, and just I could really feel myself pressuring myself. And yeah, it actually went from different parts throughout the course where it was pressuring, and then there was a lot of mind chatter coming in that I couldn't do this. And then I'd be put under pressure and really push my boundaries when somebody sat in front of me, and then I would have to see and read for them or read a pet or something. And I knew that, this person in front of me really wants to connect, and then I would feel a lot of pressure, and then all these voices that you can't do this and that you're making this up, and there was you're a fake, you're a phony. I kept having all these things come into into my mind. So to still those voices and push them out and just go, you know, really focus on my heart space and connecting to the person in front of me and knowing that they're really wanting a message to come through, and just to keep calling that that message that I want to come through for that person. And I felt by yesterday it's starting to happen, and that pillar of trust in me start to actually develop. And this morning driving home from the course, it was kind of nice because I sort of had 2 hours to drive home early this morning, and I was just praying for that pillar of trust to keep strengthening in me now. And there's a part where I see things and I know that there's the angelic realms and things, but there's also a part of me that skips back, and I'm not sure if it's just voices and entities or whether it's parts of me that have I'm not sure if it's my conditioning, like growing. I think that's what I actually feel. It's probably more my conditioning of, you know, that's rubbish that'll come into my mind. Right. So that's what I've been experiencing for 4 days. It's been quite intense.
Amazing. So have you been with your horse since you've been home?
No, I haven't been with my horse since I've been home. She actually died just before I've started listening to your course.
Wow. So do you have another horse, or do you have a group of horses around?
No, I haven't bought another horse because I was going away for a lot of training, and I had a lot of goddess training coming up and Egyptian training coming up, and every time I'd come back to the property I would see her, and then I would feel this immense guilt come over me, and I would feel so guilty that I hadn't been here for the weekend, and I would come back and say, sorry girl, sorry I've been away, like training. And it was this big pull between being here at the farm and wanting to go away training, and not being able to be here for her. And I always kept thinking, I can't do the work I want to do for people here on the farm, that I need to be somewhere in a more public space to be able to access people or to have a practice, because it's a long way for people to come realistically to come to me. So there was that pull and that strain there all the time. And then all of a sudden came out one morning, and she's only 3 years old and she was dead. So I went through the process of a week thinking, I've been cursed, like what's happened? And then eventually it came around and she came to me with a message saying to me, now I can come with you everywhere.
Exactly. So now she's your spirit horse. So
yeah.
No guilt around this at all. She realized that you need to go do your work, and she still wants to work with you. And this was the way that she could do it with you. So she'll be with you.
And I can feel other country people here actually judging me and saying, are you going to get another horse now? Like, am I going to replace her and fill that space up? And I'm like, I kind of feel inside myself, no, I still have a horse. I still have her, and I still think about her, and she's still with me every day. So I don't really feel like I want to actually fill that part in my life with another horse, because I'm studying and training and I have so much time doing that and trying to fit that in around work, that I feel like a spirit horse now actually fits in with my life a lot better than what a physical horse does. So
do you have friends with horses that you really love?
Yeah, I do. I have some close friends around, and I have lots of people on my Facebook page.
What I'm getting is, if you just go would be with the horses, now that you're back, they will recognize that you've made a shift, right? And they'll actually come and help you clear your third eye.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get you.
The horse will get it right away, just having been with the horses. I mean, I literally just came from the horses, and they will understand it because they're on the same frequency as you, and they'll just come and help you clear that up, right?
Yeah, how did that go, being with the horses? I've missed the first part.
Amazing. It was truly amazing. Yeah, so I just sat with the horses, and the horses come and work with you. And so I was able to do that this morning, and we will be doing a week together on the ranch, and opening it up for the summer solstice so people can come to the ranch and join for that 1 week. We'll be doing I'll be teaching Mayan shamanism, and we'll be doing a medicine wheel, learning how to connect with the landscape diva of the land, I really know that land like the back of my hand. It's my favorite place to be. We'll be working with a herd of horses and changing people's consciousness. So I'm very, very excited that I get this opportunity, and it will be filmed too. So I'm excited.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you feel called to come, save your pennies and put that on your calendar.
When is that?
It'll be the summer solstice that week. So if you go over to Liz Mitten Ryan and Google her, I'll type it in. You'll be able to see the calendar there. So it's from Saturday to Saturday. So the Saturday before the summer solstice and the Saturday after, right, will be the week.
Okay, I'll check it out. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about being able to be part of that. So great. So yeah, so the horse will help you with that. They are waiting for you to show up. So Arunas, did you get any insights when Trudy was talking about third eye and all the rest?
Not really.
Okay.
I honestly, I don't hear voices and I don't see any entities or angels or anything from that arena. I believe that at some level it is what's your direction, what's your enthusiasm calls you. On another hand, the way I was taught and the way I understand relationship with diseased animals or diseased people, I want them to go as soon as possible to their dimensions where they belong to. And I don't want to become an answer for them, because the way I look at this, and when I clear, for example, people from human spirits or from entities, I do certain, call it exorcism if you want, but I send them to the dimensions. I don't want them to be around. They need to progress. They don't need to be attached to the earth, because they need to ascend to the next level. That's how I look, and it's I don't want to say that it's my point of view is absolute. I'm right in some way, but that's my view.
Right.
Yeah, well, definitely before I went away to the course, I was being shown that. So I was being shown people or animals that were dying, and as the helper and rescuer in me, I'd try and help and rescue them, and then realise that is not why I'm being called to that particular vibration, and I could really feel myself being called there to actually ask for wounding and things of the soul to be directed away, and call in the angels and Egyptian divinities that I work with to help clear away those aspects of the soul, to help the soul transition in a more loving way so that it can go back up into the light realms and actually receive the healing that it needs to heal without having the battle of continuing on with all the wounding. And I actually had a magnificent dream about this, where my friend Michael with cancer, I was with him while he was dying, and so I got to see like the start of the process, and then I could feel him transitioning. And then only like a month ago, so it's been about 4 or 5 months, and then I had a dream only not long ago, and he came back to me in the dream and showed me like a contract, and he could show me the contract, and he was showing me what I did for him and helped him with while he was passing over, has helped him choose a womb now to come back to incarnate and come back. And the womb, because I could see that his whole life and the cancer had come from, he'd been adopted out, and it came from a abandonment wound in him, where he was trying to fill himself up in this life, and he had a partner that was very, she's very headstrong and wouldn't listen to him, so he kind of felt trapped, and he was only staying with her because of the little boy. But he was living in a loveless relationship, basically, he'd created for himself. And as much as I wanted to help him with juice and things like that, he was just going to keep opting out, and he didn't want any of my help healing wise. So I did that. I was called to him that morning when he was dying, so I went and sat with him in the hospital. But then for him to come back and show me the rest of the process, and it was actually just before my daughter had her baby, so it was like I kind of seen the dying and the going out, and then he came back and showed me the contract and the choosing to come back in with more love this time and choose a different path. And it was not long before my daughter was born, and then to see the actual vortex and the baby come from the womb and come back out again, it was like I was being, over a period of months, I was shown like a full circle of life. It was really quite extraordinary. So
I want to say a few words about your experience, and my point of view in this is, the first of all, I want to point that you look at, there's three people, like you, Trudy, Tyson, myself, and we all have a different, so to speak, journey in a healing world, or in the spiritual world, right? And it's one thing we have to realize, that everybody, every single healer, it's different, because we on our own here, and we have to do our own works. And if you feel enthusiastic about this, and you feel that that's your, and you there's way more science in your life that you can say, that's my path, that's my passion. So go for it, because that's where you want to be. Don't try to be Tyson, or don't try to be myself, or don't try to be some other guy. Be yourself, and that's a mission for us. Now, when we speak about incarnation, reincarnation, I believe, and I can share further. There's Dr. Sarfaraz here in Florida. He's writing a great scientifically backed messages, and I think Tyson knows him. And I agree with him that at some point we go through the reincarnation cycles, but our main goal to leave that reincarnation cycle and go to the next dimensional level to live and to do our next step in our life. So how reincarnation works from the frequency point, I can tell you that that's how we build. We build a certain frequencies, right? And it's like a sea levels, right? Like it's pressure, and those frequencies allow us to ascend. And when we die, if those frequencies allow to stay in some plane, on spiritual plane, we'll stay. If we're not ready there, our frequency level is not matching that next level of ascension, they're going to kick us back. So, and I, again, want to express my point of view. You can take it any way you want, but we have to let people go away from us. Don't hold them close to us. Don't let them bring those contracts. They don't have to have contracts with us. They need to move on. And by the way, the cremation is one of the best things which people created, which is, Indians doing already for 1,000 years, because during the cremation, we're burning our DNA. And DNA is our microchip, which has recorded a lot of our stuff through our lives, and it's like goes to the next stage. So what happened before, when people used to die, we used to bury them, right? And it took very long time for the bones to, or for thousands of years sometimes, to dissolve. So what happens, those bones work like lighthouses or anchor for our souls, calling back, to the reincarnation cycle. So, and that's where also records from the previous lives can be held in the DNA, on the DNA level. So if you have any friends, I recommend anybody, friends, animals, you want them really cross over, burn them, I mean, cremate them. Sorry for that.
Well, interesting enough. So just to go back over, so thank you to both of you. So I just typed in there Liz, Mitt, and Ryan, Gateway Ranch, and I also gave you the link to the retreats so that you can find the retreats, and it's in the chat. So if you want to copy that down, that will give you the schedule. When we're talking about the DNA and we're talking about the bones, and Trudy, you and I talked about this, I really, if you haven't listened to the Confessions of a Bone Woman, I really encourage you to listen to that interview. It's a very powerful interview about the animal-human connection. And we talk about that too, about the difference between burying the bones and cremation as well. So the other last thing is I do have some friends who feel called to being what they call death doulas, and that is helping people pass over, and how important that is, and how in our belief system we usually drug everybody up, and that's really not the best way to do, because they go to the other dimension drugged. And as Arunas would say, it's an energy match, and if you're all drugged out and you're not fully conscious, then that frequency alignment can get all mucked up. So certainly for the Tibetans, for example, there's no drugs, even for the pain. The pain is part of the birthing the other way, just like there's pain birthing onto this plane, there's pain birthing onto the other plane. So being a death doula is something that our culture really needs to become more aware of, that to help people transition from this plane to the next plane is really a gift that is not part of our culture and not something that's really talked about.
If somebody wants to, and have recently passed away people, they can contact me and do the same thing.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because yeah, I've been looking at death doula courses and to go away and do the death dueling, but I also agree with Arunas that it's very important that the people left behind, even though they're going to go through a process of grieving, and that's a natural part of that, but to be able to be a person, to be able to show them that soul's transitioning and that this is actually a beautiful, loving process, and to let them go is actually more serving for their soul and doesn't keep those earthbound spirits and those people hanging around. Yeah, I really feel strongly called to that, and the animals that have been coming to me dying, like I've been learning lessons from each one that's staying behind. And I watched the Bone Lady that you suggested last week. I resonated with so much of what she was saying. And the energy, the whole side of my house is actually bones out the side that I've been collecting, and I wasn't sure why. I've just been collecting them and bringing them home, so I haven't been shown why. But when she was speaking, I was like, oh my gosh, that's why. It's the energy that I can feel in them. And I was really attracted to the shapes and like the pelvis bones of the cow. So I've got one like hanging in my kitchen, and everyone comes and I've got this big pelvis of a cow hanging in my kitchen. But I can see like a big mask, like it must be something back in my DNA that I can see to make this into a big mask, and I can see feathers and like horns on the top of this big mask, that it's going to be, when I create this, it's going to be some sort of protection, or I'm not sure, but I've had it hanging there and collecting bits and pieces, and I know that it's going to be something.
I'll print with you guys here, for listeners, basics, to look for before you start dowsing, and before you want to make sure that, if you're dowsing off and it's not correct, check all those things, alignments, checks for the spirits, and to come back to the deceased people. I call on you guys and on Tyson specifically. maybe we should pay a little bit more attention to the cemeteries, or where the most of those diseased people's spirits, or human spirits, gathering, and clear those territories. And another thing why we have to clear ourselves, because those spirits who don't cross over, they hang around us. And guess where they hang? They hang in each of us. And when I work with the people, before healing anybody, before I start working, let's say my specialization is kidney stones, right? And or any stones, kidney, liver, gallstones. So before I start working, on the healing, first I clean the energy field from entities and from the human spirits, because human spirits, they need to get somewhere that energy, and they start, joining us and become parasites. On average, every human has about 7 to 8 human spirits in the aura or in the organs, and we have to clean. That's to me, that's a mission. It's a more important mission than to fight a hurricane. First, because we're gonna really clean something, and we're gonna really help spiritual world and ourselves. And by doing that, we're gonna be less stressed. We're gonna be having a clear mind, and overall, that's gonna radiate into the surroundings, into the Mother Nature and to the earth. And that's how we're gonna change the world. We have to clean our earth from its too many diseased, too many human spirits who couldn't cross over around us, and they damaging us.
I really agree. Especially when it comes to curses. I'm sort of stuck on curses lately. Many curses and many different cultures have regressed people back into the stones and into inanimate objects. And as the earth rises in consciousness, we go to the new earth, they're being released. So a lot of spirits that have been earthbound, literally locked into the soil or into the rocks or the crystals and everything, are finding themselves freed and have no idea about birth or death. So being a death doula really is helping those spirits know that there's a way for them to cross over to continue in their soul evolution. Then going back to the death doula, my sister passed over this spring, and going and being with her tribe of women, all very rugged, individualistic. I called them, my sister's name was Lee. It was really not so much helping my sister transition, although we did. And then my son worked with me, which was a great blessing. I really got to connect with my son as we worked together on each side of the bed to pass her over, but really helping her friends let her go, and really processing them to have completion, and then doing the whole thing about celebration of life. And so everybody could release her with non-attachment and know that her job was done, was as important as helping my sister go over as well. And then one more comment about that is there was really a question about the drugs that they were using, and not being able to know whether my sister has allergic reactions to one of the drugs that they were using. And I asked them not to use this, but the derivative could have also been affecting her and not having a sign language set up with her. So I could determine whether it was the pain that she was going through because of the cancer and the transition, or it was the effect of the drugs. So again, be really clear with those that you work with or your loved ones that you have a protocol set up ahead of time so that you can communicate across the barrier of non-communication, so that you and they can communicate so that they have a safe passage that's drug-free into the next dimension. So for example, if I would have known if I had settled that with her, like 1 is yes, 1 squeeze of the hand is yes, and 1 blink of the eyes is yes, and 2 is no, I would have been able to figure out whether it was the drugs which were causing her this grief, or it was the pain that was coming from the cancer or whatever. So I'm still in doubt about, what was that transition and how could I help to make it with more ease and grace. So helping people make those agreements as part of the protocol as they get ready to die, and having that conversation before they actually get ready to die is really important. So being a death doula, there's different steps of helping them go through, right? Which is what also, Trudy, in working with the animals. Animals want to come into a safe zone where they're protected and not going to be eaten necessarily alive. Some animals do want to be eaten to make the transition. Some want to come into your safe zone so they can die, right, and make the transition. So each animal in their state wants to come in and have that experience. And some want to have that human connection, which, and from Arunas's point of view, kicks them up vibrational frequency because of the relationship with humans, allows their incarnation to be more self-actualized than if they didn't. You understand what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they didn't have that human interaction, they would come back, they'd still be part of the group mind, and there's nothing wrong with that. They have the herd consciousness, the flow. But like a domestic dog has that, he has the wolf, and then he has a dog-human connection, which allows him to self-actualize, right? And allows him to come back on a different plane of awareness because he's graduated. That makes sense to you. So a death doula for the animal kingdom, a death doula for the spirit kingdom, a death doula for the human kingdom are all interconnected and very powerful to do. So, even if you're called to doing in other things, part from my point of view of being an earth steward is understanding all these dimensions of transition and helping all those dimensions find their right, frequency to come through at the maximum evolutionary potential that's possible, so the earth herself can clear. Did that make sense? A lot of words.
Yeah, I can hear with the it's interesting what you say about the having that communication with your sister as she's dying and setting up, because with my friend, I could feel him start to leave from the bottom chakra, from his root chakra, from his feet. So it started shutting down in his feet and fluid in his feet. And then as it went up his body, I didn't know to do this because I was just winging it. It was the first time I was I felt like I was just tossed in there. And as it got up to his body chakras, then I could feel that he couldn't pee anymore, or I could feel his system actually starting to shut down. As soon as I started to feel that, I was like, I need to go to the toilet. And then I could feel everything in his stomach, and I actually went out of the hospital and was guided to vomit on the earth. And when I was vomiting, I could feel all the chemo and I could taste the chemo. And as soon as I did, it just went away, and it was like his stuff started, his symptoms that he couldn't release from his body started to come through my body. And every time, and then I'd just start burping because the bottom chakras felt like they'd shut down and he couldn't pee or anything. And I felt like every time I was peeing, I was like, that's not mine. It doesn't feel like mine. And then as then I would start burping, and then I just kept burping and burping. And then for 5 days after, when he passed, I could actually feel a burping. I'd be going around the property and then I'd feel a burp and a release, and I could feel that's not mine, that was his. And it was the body actually still releasing air, and the body, there was the physical body still going through the transition. Even though I'd seen the soul transition, the body actually I could feel being shown that the body's still going through a transitioning process. But yeah, it was, I agree with Arunas what he's saying about the clearing before any healing, how beneficial that is, that clearing. And what I really noticed on the weekend, and what I noticed between us here is everybody has a gift of doing that in a certain way. And even though I was pushed in the course on the weekend to try and do it from a clairvoyant aspect, and I was being really hard on myself because I don't naturally have that clairsentient. That's not my first call. My first call is to feel, and I get goosebumps and chills when I ask and I get a yes and a right, and I've been using my pendulum, so that's my first point of call, and I wasn't allowed to use that, so I was glad that it pushed my boundaries. But I could see for the clearing and things, it doesn't matter, it doesn't sort of matter that I can't physically see, like that's somebody else's gift. I don't have to actually physically see things, but if I can feel the message, and like that is my strength, then each one of us have a strength. And I was really shown on the weekend that we can just keep building those other strengths and use those other clairs as well. But I just feel like we have a natural strength first. And that was quite powerful on the weekend to witness everybody else in the course and how information was coming through to them. I think that was what really stood out for me, and to stay true to whatever is your first point of call and trust that 100%. And yeah, I think the transitioning is really, I know there's so much more, and yeah, it's really exciting knowing that when we can clear those spirit, and that spirit can go off to the higher realms. And my teacher spoke to us about where she had asked for a contract change for certain people that really wanted to stay, but she was a nurse and she's been an RN. I think she's around 80 years old. So she's worked in the medical field for so long, but she spoke of people having cardiac arrest and how their soul, she could actually see it leave, because she's very clairvoyant. So she could see the soul leaving the body, and she would take that soul up into the light and ask for a contract change and bring back. But she's done it for other people and it hasn't worked. It's been their time, and they're not willing to work on or change anything, so she hasn't been able to do that. But she was speaking about how we are able to do that, or if people are willing with cancer and things to change, ask for a contract change, then that's how it can be successful and work. If we clear that person and they've had adequate clearing and healing, that if they ask for a contract change, then it's very possible that it could be granted.
Yeah, I think that's, have you heard of the Tibetan Book of the Dead?
Yeah, I've got a copy of it. I haven't read it yet, but I've got a copy.
Yeah. Just flip it open whenever you feel like it. It's a lot of reading, but I read from it when my father passed, but it's very, very powerful. From the Tibetan point of view, they really don't touch the body. I think, I can't remember exactly, I think it's 4 days afterwards, right? Because they're still going through the lower frequencies, right? And they believe if you disturb them, then frequency-wise, like Arunas says, they get stuck on one of those frequencies, and you want them to go through, process each one of those frequencies, going up through the levels, right? So they don't get reincarnated at the wrong level. So there's this between stage that you're talking about, Trudy, which is so important, which she was talking about. There's a whole body of knowledge between that state and reincarnation, and also, the reintegration of the soul and not incarnating and all that. Those stepping stones is really a body of information we need to bring more onto this plane so people understand it more completely than we have knowledge of it now. So that's a great area of helping people understand of all those different ingredients and why it's important, and that you can negotiate soul contracts and why it's important, and what does it mean to have walk-ins, and what does it mean to have partial contracts of people leaving, people arriving, and what do twin souls mean, and what is the marriage between male and female, and what is it being to be androgynous, and why are people coming back with confusion over which sexes they are. All this is part of this new series of integrative levels that we're going through as the earth clears itself. So very interesting, and I can't say I know under a lot of it, but I feel it's really an exciting area to work in and get to know. Well, everybody, it's the top of the hour. We've had a wonderful hour together. Thank you, the three of you, for showing up. any last words that people want to say? Let's start with you, Arunas. You're the first one on deck today. What would you like to leave?
I would like everybody to pay attention. I posted a few things, what you have to pay attention before dowsing, and check every day. Check every day on your alignments, your meridian alignments, your chakras alignments. Check if you have no entities in your etheric body. Check if you have no human spirits. If you have any negative, of course, with a negative consciousness, or this also, make sure you don't use when you douse, don't use sip of alcohol or smoke some marijuana, because it closes your 7th chakra for sure, and your connection is not going to be that good. And also make sure you're not stressed, you're not nervous, you're not just, it's not good when you have a fight in your home with somebody arguing, and high and emotional level, and then shut the door and go do dowsing. That's not good thing to do. You have to be in a calm mode. Everybody helps at least say a prayer, and that helps. Even it helps open your 7th chakra. The nice prayer always does that. So that's my recommendation for.
Thank you, Arunas. And Trudy, what's your last words for everybody? Trudy, are you frozen in time and space? I think you maybe are. So I'll come back to you. For me, thanks to Liz and Ryan and the opportunity to be at Gateway 2 Ranch, and looking forward to a week of ceremony and shamanism and learning how, teaching people how to connect with the landscape diva, how to bring the sacred lane, knowing how to work with the sacred landscape, how to bring that back to where you live, how to work with the horse kingdom, how to learn to be one with the herd, one with the animal kingdom, one with the angelic kingdom, one with the elemental kingdom. And if this is something that you'd like to learn and you're excited about it, then the links are in the show notes. Just head over and look for the retreat that will happen during the summer solstice. All right, so it looks like we've ready. So we're over and out for this week. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you same time, same place every Tuesday, the healing hour at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, have your best week ever. So bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye. The Healing Hour, brought to you every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time or 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. During the show, you can phone in toll-free in North America, 1-866-369-7464 or 1-866-Dowsing. The Healing Hour is live on Facebook, hosted by the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy and sponsored by the Facebook page, The Healing Arts Academy. Produced by The Wellness Show, and until next Tuesday, same time, same place, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.